Good evening. Welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include Novice hockey team won a tournament in St. George's last Saturday. We have the results from the Lioness mock jail. We have a few segments from the ABE education program that's going to be offered on the community channel. We took our cameras to the new hospital game this week, and more, so please stay tuned.
In Nepal, children care for children, while their parents must work to grow food. USC Canada works with Nepali partners, building daycare centers and schools. Here, children develop skills to begin building better lives for themselves and their families. USC Canada, building tomorrow, today. I'm Bruce Coburn for USC Canada, 56 Spark Street, Ottawa.
A group of novice hockey players traveled to St. George's last Saturday to compete in a hockey tournament. Last Saturday, these 9 hockey players traveled to St. George's for a fun-filled day of hockey. However, what started as a fun-filled game of hockey for these guys turned into a victory. These guys won their regular round games and went on to win the championship game as well. There was a number of family and friends waiting on the community center parking lot when the boys arrived home on Saturday evening.
Okay. Come on, boys, hip hip hooray.
Congratulations, guys. We'd also like to thank Linda Vatcher for letting us use their coverage that she filmed in St. George's. On Wednesday night, we had Cyril Organ, Program Development Officer for West Viking College, along with Bernard Benoit, the instructor for the ABE program that's going to be offered on our community channel. They gave us a pretty thorough run-through of what will be happening on this channel, how this ABE system works, etc. Here are a few highlights from that interview.
BBS Burjo project. This is a new project we've got from BBS starting up tonight. This is a project here that will offer potential for education, for community development, and for career awareness. I have here with me tonight Mr. Cyril Organ. He's a development officer from West Viking College in Stephenville, and he's here to answer questions that anybody out there viewing us tonight might want to call in about. So, Mr. Organ, what is the intent of this project?
Well, Vern, I should say, first of all, thanks for having me in. This has been a long time coming, and I'm delighted that we're finally on here. Now, this started as an experiment, and it's still very much an experiment. What we're hoping to do is to evaluate the use of the community channel as a way of delivering community education. Now, Burgeo was selected in the first place because of the BBS and its penetration into the majority of the homes in the town. So basically, what we're attempting to do is to see whether we can offer adult basic education and other community education initiatives through a community channel. So we're inviting response from the people in Burgeo. It basically rests with the people of Burgeo as to whether this will be a success or not. So we basically are requesting any and all feedback that you can give us.
Maybe you could fill us in on the role of the coordinator then, because I think that's the person that's going to be the contact really between the public, the instructor, BBS, the college, and that's going to bring everybody together.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Wanda Brake was recently appointed as her title now will be Community Liaison Officer, and Wanda has a number of duties. Now, I've explained to Wanda that basically her role is to be the college's eyes, ears, leg, nose, etc. in the community. She is the college for all intents and purposes in Burgeo. So now she's got a couple of jobs. One will be to ensure that this project runs smoothly and to keep you going with resources and resource people and whatever. And the other is, if there are training needs in Burgeo, Wanda's role will be to respond to these training needs as closely as she can. I'm open to any questions at all about the ABE program and how it will affect you. Now, I'll lead off with a few comments about what the ABE program is, perhaps. The ABE program is a high school equivalency program. It is intended to give people who left school prior to completion the opportunity to complete high school. Now, why the emphasis on high school? Well, I'll give you a couple of examples. One is, there are no training programs offered by post-secondary institutions now that you can access without a high school completion certificate. All post-secondary institutions now require high school completion. Having said that, you can apply as a mature student. If you're 19 years of age or greater, you can apply as a mature student, but you enter at a disadvantage. The content of most post-secondary programs now is pretty, well, you need high school completion, I would suggest. Now, having said that, what sorts of ABE courses should you do? Do I have any credits? How do I get registered? How, you know, this whole ballpark of how does it affect me? Okay, let's run through the scenario here. Let's say I'm 33 years old. I completed grade 10 in 1981, for instance. Let's say that I've done a Fishing Master 4 course at some point through the Marine Institute. Now, if there's anyone out there in this category or a similar category, you are entitled to a number of credits. In the first place, if you're 33 years of age, you're entitled to, I'll just keep a running count over here, 5 maturity credits. Simply by virtue of age, you accumulate credits. Now, we've had an awful lot of discussion. I served on the Provincial Advisory Committee for ABE, and this idea here that you could get credit simply by being of a certain age got people kind of upset. They said, look, if we give credits to people simply because they lived to be 29 or 30 or 25 or whatever, is that fair? And the answer was yes. People pick up a number of experiences simply by virtue of having lived. Now, in my case, well, I've been in a delivery room 3 times. Now, that was worth something to me. I learned something there that I couldn't learn anywhere else. I guess the most significant thing was that I'm glad I was the one standing up in this situation. Now, so I'm entitled to 5 credits here. Number 2, I finished grade 10 in 1981. What's that worth to me? Well, I won't get into the exact formula here now, simply because our board is not large enough. But if you completed math, English, science, history, and geography, for instance, you're entitled to up to 16 credits towards high school completion. Also, if you did a Fishing Master 4 course, and I suspect there are people out there who've done them, and these people can speak to the fact that this is not a Mickey Mouse course. This is worth something, and in fact it is. We recognize that. I'll briefly go through the formula. The Fishing Master course is 8 weeks long, and there are 30 hours of instruction in every week in the Fishing Master 4 program. That gives a total of 240 hours of instructional time. What we said is that for every 60 hours of instruction, we will give you 1 ABE credit. So if I divide by 60, and trusting my math, we come up with 4. We see that there's an additional 4 credits here. Now, this person here, therefore, has 25 ABE Level 3 credits.
If you would like to have more information on this ABE course, you can call Wanda Brake or Bernard Benoit. We have the results for you now from this year's Lioness mock jail. Again this year, Lioness members with their yellow stripes down their legs stood out around Burgeo, collecting up people that were pledged to be put in this year's Lioness mock jail. This year, the Lioness received approximately 200 calls to have people arrested. Out of these people, they collected about 150 people. This year, they raised approximately $1,000 from their mock jail. This money will be going towards the Max Sims Camp for the Handicapped. Last year, the Lioness raised approximately $2,000 at this project. However, last year's weather was not quite as favorable as this year. The nice day we had this year had a lot of people out around, which probably was some of the reason why the mock jail didn't go quite as well this year as it did last year. The Lioness are pleased with their turnout, and they'd like to thank everyone who supported this year's Lioness mock jail. If someone you know threw you in the slammer, so to speak, remember, you can put people in jail too. If you know who it was that put you in jail, remind them that there's always next year. Each year, a number of handicapped children travel to the Max Sims Camp for the Handicap, which is what this fundraiser was used for. So as you can see, your money that you paid to get someone put in, or for you yourself to get out of jail, went towards a very worthwhile cause. Stay with us following this break, and we'll have highlights from this year's Town Council budget. As well, we took our cameras to the new healthcare facility. All this and more coming up. Please stay tuned.
Close your eyes and imagine. Go with this. Active living. Switch. Every day. Living. Switch on. Participation. Moving your way every day.
We took our cameras to the new healthcare facility this past week to see what changes have been made since we last visited. A great deal has changed at the new healthcare facility since we last visited. This is the chronic care section of the new healthcare facility. As you can see, things here look pretty much completed. This is a sitting room in the chronic care section. As you can see, there is a wall divider which divides it from the dining room. And of course, included in the dining room is a small kitchen area. With the exception of a few paint touch-ups in this area, things are completed. This here is one of the chronic care rooms. This particular room is a double room. Most of the equipment has been installed in these rooms as well, including the buzzers. This double room is also equipped with a double closet. And a rather large washroom as well. These are some of the controls on the wall of the nursing station for the chronic care section of the hospital. As you can see, the counter for that area is completed. The flooring is completed as well, and it's even equipped with a large skylight. Most of the doors in the new healthcare facility have been labeled as well. This particular corridor will house the doctor's offices as well as the examination rooms. This is one of the doctor's offices we're entering now. As you can see, there's an examination room right on side. With the exception of a few minor things, this room is pretty much completed. This is the main lobby of the new healthcare facility. Here is the registration desk. This section of the building is pretty near completed as well. Even the clocks are on the wall. This is one of the corridors just off the main lobby. As you can see, this is where the hair care salon as well as the gift shop will be located. Most of the floors in the new building have been... This particular room is what's labeled as the baby's changing room. This room is equipped with what you'll need to change your baby in case you have to while visiting. There were a couple of other rooms that I would have liked to visit, such as the new dental clinic that will be at the new healthcare facility. However, work was being carried out on that room when I visited, so we were unable to get any footage. Here we have the cafeteria. As you can see, there are some large windows here with a lovely view. With the exception of the counter, the work in this area seems to be done. Now we're looking in through the kitchen. Work was ongoing there as well while we were there. This particular hallway houses the staff lounge as well as the male and female locker rooms. We're now approaching the other end of the building, getting back into the mechanical rooms as well as storage rooms. It's impossible to film all the rooms in the new healthcare facility. This is the electrical room. As we move on down the corridor, we find such rooms as the generator room, as well as the workshops. And at the other end of the building, we find the bulk storage. We visited the council office this past week for some highlights from their 1993 budget.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. For the past several months, council has been trying to balance the budget for the community of Burgeo for 1993. Unfortunately, we were unsuccessful in doing so. Over the past month or so, we asked the provincial government to assist us in a loan to carry us over this year, and we were turned down by the province in obtaining any financial assistance to balance the budget for 1993. Due to the fish plant being closed and the council receiving very little taxes from seafoodies, and due to government cutbacks over the last few years, we have a shortfall of $100,000 in order to try and balance the budget for 1993. Council had tried very hard to avoid any tax increase, and over the last 7 years the town has not increased taxes, and therefore today we find ourselves short in balancing the budget for 1993. I think at this point I should pass it over to the town manager. I've asked him to come along today to explain to the people where we are in regards to balancing the budget and explain to you what our debt charges is for the long term in the community of Burgeo.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. First of all, if I could, we submitted a budget. We submitted a budget in January to the government, municipal affairs, There were no tax increases in that budget. However, as the mayor indicated, we had a shortfall of $100,000. This shortfall was due to the fact government have cut back on the amount of grants given to Burgell from a high in 1989 of $212,000 to a low in this current year, 1993, of $110,000. This, coupled with the fact the local fish plant closed, resulting in a further loss of revenue of some $70,000, left Burgell in a serious financial situation. Now, through wage freezes and cutbacks and operation and maintenance costs, Council was able to absorb some of this loss, but however, we still found ourselves in a $100,000 deficit. So we requested a special grant from the government in the amount of $100,000. Now, we had a reply back from the Minister of Municipal Affairs, and I would like to read it into the statement right now, Dave, if I could. And it's addressed to Mr. Doug Candle, Town Manager. Dear Mr. Candle, I refer to your letter of January 26, 1993, in which you request a special grant in the amount of $100,000 to help Council balance its 1993 budget. This will advise that while I can sympathize with your Council concerning its financial difficulties, and especially those which relate to the closing of the fish plant in your municipality, I must still inform you that the Department is unable to accede to your request for a special grant. This position is necessitated on account of the overall difficult financial position that the province finds itself in at the present time. In addition, a report from the Department's regional office indicates that Council could generate approximately $100,000 in extra local revenues if the following tax increases were made. An increase in property tax from 5 mils to 7 mils. An increase in poll tax from $100 to $140, and corresponding increases in business tax. Please therefore prepare and submit a balanced budget taking into account the comments I have made above. I thank you in anticipation of your cooperation. Signed, William P. Owen, Minister of Municipal Affairs. So it's obvious from the letter from the Minister that we were unsuccessful in getting any funding to offset our deficit for this year. And as a result of that, the town is in a position whereby we must increase taxes. And the increase proposed is those as directed by the Minister of Municipal Affairs, an increase in property tax from 5 mils to 7 mils, effective January 1st, 1993. The minimum will be $140, that's the minimum. The poll tax will also be increased from $100 to $140 per year. And there will also be an increase in water and sewer rates. Water will increase from $10 to $12 per month, and sewer from $5 to $6 per month. So overall, the overall increase, if you look at an average household of 30,000, say assessed at $30,000 per year, the overall increase to that household, taking into account all those increases, would be about $96 per year. Now, that may seem high, and I must confess it is high. But if you look at it in the long term, basically you're looking at an increase of roughly around $8 per month overall. Having said that, I think there's a number of things that most of the taxpayers of the town are not aware of, and that is with regard to expenses that we must pay on loans outstanding to the government. And I would like to get into this and just explain it. As everyone knows, back in 1969-70, Council awarded a contract to McNamara Construction to install the first water and sewer system installed in the town. This was at a cost of just about $2 million, $1,800,000. Now this was financed over a 40-year period, and it's costing the town, each year there's 2 loans still outstanding, a $750,000 loan and a $350,000 loan which was financed over 40 years. And on the $750,000 loan, the town must pay $41,294 a year. And that loan will not be paid off until the year 2010. And the other loan for $350,000, the town must pay $22,529 a year, and that will not be paid off until the year 2009. So as you can see, that's $63,823.81 on long-term debt of our original water and sewer system. In addition to that, when we were repairing the system in the 80s from 1983 right up to 1990, we had to take out 2 more government guaranteed loans. One for $112,262 and one for $108,174. This is costing the town each year. On the $112,000 loan, we pay $16,311 a year. And we will pay that every year until it's paid off in the year 2003. On the $108,000 loan, we pay $17,874.68 a year, and this loan will be paid off in the year 2005. Last year, Council started a project that will be completed this year, and that is repairs and maintenance to the reservoir and the chlorination plant, and also the installation of the water line to Mr. Z. The total of the loan for this project was $178,000. And upon completion this year will cost the town $21,610 per year to the year 2004. So basically what I'm saying, this gives the town a total debt load on water and sewer debt charges of $119,620 per year. That's in water and sewer debt charges alone. As everyone also knows, last year the town completed a number of other projects. The incinerator, the paving of the main road, and Smalls Island Bridge. These projects were cost shared with the government. We want to make it clear to the people that we also have to pay back on those loans. For example, the incinerator project was $260,000. 60% of this was paid for by the government, which is $27,935 a year on the loan. And the town is responsible for paying $18,174 a year. And this will be paid off in the year 2003. On the road paving project, $360,000, the town will be responsible to pay $25,538.56 a year to the year 2003. So the total debt charge on those 2 projects alone for the town over the next 10 years is $43,712.70, which is a substantial payment. We also completed Smalls Island Bridge. Now I would like to explain that this do not cost the town anything directly, as it is 100% funded by the provincial government. But there's the point that I must make is over the next 10 years, the provincial government will be paying off $255,773 per year for Smalls Island Bridge, a project that cost $1.5 million. So although it's not costing the town anything, when we go to the provincial government looking for additional funding, they certainly point out the fact that they are paying the $255,000 every year on behalf of the town of Virgil. In addition to that, we also have a number of other loans. The new loader that we purchased several years ago was financed over 5 years, the 515 loader. And this is costing the town $19,745.64 per year until December of 1995. And the new fire truck is costing the town $9,817.28 per year until December of 1996. So if you put all those figures together, the total yearly dip load for the town as it stands right now is $192,895. So this is some point, I don't think the people was aware of the funding that we're getting from the government. Although the government pays part of the cost, the town is still responsible for paying its share. And then as it relates to water rates, I must explain this also with regard to, like last year, Mrs. Eid, the chlorine plant and the water reservoir, which is being completed this year. The government is not paying 1 cent towards any of those projects. I want to make that quite clear. The town is paying back the total amount on those loans. They were not grants, they were not cost sharing, they were just outright loans which the town must pay back over a 10-year period. So therefore, taking this fact in consideration with the high dip charge load and the fact that the government have decreased the operating grant from by $100,000, and with the fish plant being closed, we don't get any business tax or any water and sewer rates. It left the town in this position. One of the reasons that they gave us for not giving us the grant to help us offset the dip charge load was they had very little funding. It was also indicated to us that our taxes was way below the provincial average. So when I received this information, I contacted a number of towns throughout the island, and I guess I found that it was true. For example, our taxes was 5 mils in Burgeo, 5 mils, which is $5 for every $1,000 worth of property. Whereas you take, for example, in Ramya, the rate in Ramya is 7.5 mils, which is 2.5 mils more than what it is in Burgeo. And we also contacted Stephenville Crossing, and Stephenville Crossing's rate is 8 mils, which is 3 more than Burgeo. So we realized that we were a bit low. We didn't want to increase taxation at this time due to the economic situation of the town. However, with the dip load, we were left with no other choice. So basically, that's where we stand, and if I could just highlight the budget, with the increase, the property tax will increase from 5 mils to 7 mils, which will mean a revenue of $190,000 per year. Water and sewer will increase, water from 10 to 12, sewer from 5 to 6, for a revenue of $133,972 a year. Business tax will realize a revenue of $103,000 a year, and poll tax $42,000. So what we've got is a total overall revenue locally of $463,000. That plus the municipal operating grant of $110,000 this year. Expenditures, for example, administrative, office expense, other general government, workman's compensation, audit fees, assistant fees, is going to cost us $163,000. Fire protection, $25,000. Town hall, the operating and maintenance of town hall, $3,200. Street lighting, I mean, the lights that's on around town is costing us now $30,000 a year. Our fire insurance, liability, group insurance is $14,200. We've got budgeted this year, for example, road maintenance, $5,000. That's all that we could allocate in the budget this year for road maintenance. Snow clearing, you're looking at $20,000, and this is only material cost. This don't include labor cost. So garbage collection is $30,000 per year. The operation and maintenance of the water and sewer system and materials alone, $36,000. Chlorine, lime, soda ash is costing the town in the area $36,000 a year. So what we've got is a budget of with a revenue of $948,000 all told when you take in consideration all the dip charges which got to be paid. And we've got an expenditure of the same, of course, of $948,582. I guess the mayor can elaborate on it more than me. This is just balancing the budget And there is no funding available for any capital works this year, other than the completion of the road to Mrs. Eden, of course, to the chlorination plant and the water reservoir. All that we will be able to do with this budget is operate and maintain existing services. I want to give you an example of what those expenditures means, if I can simplify it in general terms. If we're looking at where the tax dollars is going, by that I mean what every local person in the community. As I indicated, the total money we'll receive in property tax is $190,000, and the total poll tax at $140 a year would be $42,000, which is $232,000 a year. Now, when you look at the fact garbage collection is costing $35,000 a year, that's $30,000 to the contractor and $5,000 to the town to operate the machine and that for keeping the dump clean. You got street lighting of $30,000 a year. You got snow clearing when you take in consideration the materials and the salt and sand and the labor at $40,000 a year. You got fire protection at $25,000. You've got animal control or dog control costs us $7,000 a year. You got road maintenance at $20,000. That's really low. I mean, you can spend easily $60,000 if you add it. And then you got payment on the incinerator of $18,000. And you got payment on your pavement of $25,000, and payment on your loader of $19,000, and payment on the new fire truck of $9,000. Just those expenses alone come to $230,000. So I mean that takes up all local taxation. With regard to the water and sewer part of it, we don't collect enough in water and sewer rates to pay for the operation and the maintenance of the system and pay the long-term dip load. Our total from water and sewer rates with those increased for this year will be $133,000. The operation and maintenance to the system alone is $60,000, and the payment on the loans is $119,620, which is $179,000. So we've got to depend upon the remainder. We've got the $110,000 government grant, plus the money that we collect from business tax to offset our water and sewer dip load. So basically, I guess that concludes my part of it, Dave. I hope I've shed some light onto where the tax dollars are going and the expense it is to the town to operate and maintain existing services. Having said that, we have built in this budget this tax increase enough to generate enough revenue to be able to finance the paving of the side roads in town. Well, that can't take place this year. There will be nothing done with that this year. We've got to look for that in 1994. In summary, I guess what the tax, like I said before, what the tax increase means to the average household. The average household valued at about $30,000 a year. It means an increase in property tax of about $60, and if you've got water and sewer, an additional $36, which is $96 per year. And I suppose if you look at it in the light that is costing the average taxpayer about $5 more per month for garbage collection, snow clearing, street lighting, and fire protection, about $5 a month per more. And the water and sewer, it's costing the average taxpayer about $3 a month per more. So basically, that's the financial part of it, and I'll pass it back to the mayor now.
I'd like to thank the town manager for coming along today and presenting the budget, because he's been in the business for 25 years and he's certainly familiar with the system as it went over the years. But unfortunately, this tax increase had to come, but as you can see through the town manager's report there, that we was left with no choice. We tried to borrow and was not successful. We were also told by the province to increase our taxes. And I guess, like the town manager said, we were below compared compared to other communities of this size. So I believe that if we want to see this community present a balanced budget and stay on top of things, a tax increase is certainly necessary, and it's something I guess that nobody wants to see, but it's a reality. And I guess if we want to see this community in a viable position, we certainly don't want to leave any bills left for our children to pay. And I believe that the council will live with no choice but to increase this budget here today.
Our playbill for the week of April 5th to the 11th includes: tune in on Monday night when we'll have tape number 11 of the 12-part series, David Hattenberg's The Trials of Life, and this one is Talking to Strangers. We'd like to remind viewers once again that some scenes from these videos may not be suitable for all viewers. Tune in on Tuesday night when we'll have Burgio's first game in the St. Patrick's Day tournament, Burgio against Springdale. Tune in on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for St. John the Evangelist Church installation of Vestry, taped on March 28, 1993. And of course, tune in on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. for Story Time. And of course, tune in next Sunday night for This Week in Review, followed by Driftwood and Friends. Community events. The Boy Scout TV Bingo held on Wednesday night was won by Amanda Young. Congratulations, Amanda. There will not be any TV Bingo next week because next week is Holy Week. The general cleaning of the Anglican Church for Easter will take place on Wednesday, April 7th. All Anglican women who can are asked to come along. Officials from the Department of Forestry will be at the town office on Wednesday, April 7th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to issue wood cutting permits. Well, that's it for tonight's program. Please stay tuned now for the bandwagon. On behalf of BBS and all the BBS volunteers, I'm Dave Cooper wishing you a great week. Good night.